In December of 2022, in the Picayune Strand west of Naples, Florida, a team followed a radio signal into the saw palmetto and found a female Burmese python, 18 feet long. She weighed 215 pounds. Inside her sat 122 developing eggs, the heaviest python ever recorded in the United States, and she was not in the Everglades. She was 30 miles outside the park, in country the official map said the invasion had not reached. The signal that led the team to her did not come from her. It came from a male they had cut open, wired, and released. A traitor, sent in to find her. They call them scout snakes. The program exists because the snakes keep turning up where the models swear they should not be. North of the sawgrass, west of the cypress, in the suburbs. The official line is that the Burmese python is contained to South Florida. The snakes have not read the official line. I'm Caleb Whitlock. I've spent 22 years walking the backcountry of North America with a notebook and a DNA kit, tracking the predators the official record said were gone. And I'll tell you what the agency's carefully worded statements don't. This time, the record has the opposite problem. The python was never supposed to be here at all. In 2000, the National Park Service formally acknowledged a breeding population of Burmese pythons inside Everglades National Park. A snake from the jungles of Southeast Asia, established and reproducing in an American national park. Officially, an accident of the pet trade. Officially, contained. 2 words doing a great deal of work. It would mean little if it were one snake. It is not one snake. The South Florida Water Management District runs a python elimination program. Since 2017, its contractors have pulled more than 20,000 pythons out of the marsh. The pay tells you how seriously the state takes it. An hourly wage, then $50 a head for a snake, up to 4 feet, $25 for every foot beyond that, a $200 bonus for a nest of eggs. 20,000 removed under that bounty, and the population barely flinches. The U.S. Geological Survey puts the real number between 100,000 and 300,000. Nobody can count them. They are dark, silent, and spend most of their lives invisible under water and grass. What can be counted is the edge, and the edge keeps moving. The man who found that record female is Ian Bartoshek, a wildlife biologist with the Conservancy of Southwest Florida. His method is cold. Implant a transmitter in a male during breeding season, release him, and let him do what a male does. Run down the largest females he can find. Then follow him. Since 2013, his scout snakes have led his team to remove more than 1,000 pythons from one corner of Southwest Florida. Over 30,000 pounds of snake. Not from the Everglades. From the country west of it, toward Naples and the Gulf. That 18-foot female and her 122 eggs set a national record for a single clutch. Bartoshek's read on his own data is plain. The population is established, breeding, and the leading edge is pushing north. The snakes his scouts find now sit on the boundary of where pythons were never supposed to last a winter. People want one villain for this, and the favorite is Hurricane Andrew. In 1992, the storm flattened South Florida, and the legend says it smashed open a python breeding warehouse and loosed the founders into the swamp. A clean myth, mostly wrong. The first Burmese python was pulled from the Everglades in 1979, years before the storm. The truth is duller and worse. Decades of the exotic pet trade. Hatchlings sold cheap, grown to 12 feet, then quietly let go at the edge of the park when they got too big to feed. No single night of releases, A slow, ordinary seeding by ordinary people. By 2000, the Park Service conceded the obvious. They were breeding on their own. Nobody had to plant them anymore. Now the thing you have been told that is wrong. The comfort everyone reached for was the cold. A tropical snake, the story went, gets stopped at the frost line, South Florida, and no further. In January of 2010, a hard freeze sat over the Everglades for almost 2 weeks. Many pythons died. The relief was immediate. It was also premature, because the survivors did something a dumb tropical animal is not supposed to do. They adjusted. Researchers tracking that cold snap watched snakes retreat into burrows and bask to pull their body temperature back up. A 2009 U.S. Geological Survey analysis led by Gordon Rada and Robert Reed had already run the numbers. Matched to the python's native range across South Asia, the climate it could tolerate did not end at Lake Okeechobee. In the warmest projection, it ran up through the Gulf states and across a third of the continental United States. The frost line was never a wall. It was a line the snake had not finished crossing. So how does a snake take a peninsula? By water and by arithmetic. The Burmese python is a strong swimmer. Telemetry led by Kristen Hart of the U.S. Geological Survey has tracked individuals moving for miles through canals and open marsh. The engineered network, built to drain South Florida, doubles as a road pointed north. Then the breeding. A female lays 30 to 60 eggs at a time. The biggest clutches over 100. She wraps around them and shivers to hold the heat. Almost nothing in Florida is big enough to eat a 15-foot snake, so the dots spread. Pythons confirmed down through the Florida Keys. Pythons established across Big Cypress and slipping past its northern edge. Verified animals near Lake Okeechobee and in the ranch country approaching Fort Myers. Frank Mazzotti of the University of Florida, who has worked these snakes for decades, does not soften it. The front is not holding. It is advancing. Here's what the advance leaves behind. In 2012, a team led by Michael Dorcas published a survey in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They counted mammals along Everglades roads and set the numbers against the years before the python took hold. The collapse was near total. Raccoon sightings down 99%, opossums 98%. Bobcats cut by 7 in 8. Marsh rabbits and foxes did not appear in the survey at all. Gone. An entire layer of an American ecosystem swallowed out from under it. The damage reaches the rare animals, too. The spread now presses on the Key Largo wood rat and the wood stork, species with nowhere left to retreat. That same year, the federal government finally listed the Burmese python as an injurious species under the Lacey Act and banned its import. The ban came after the breeding population was already loose and already feeding, closing the door on an empty cage. What moves north is not just a big snake. It is a hole in the map where the warm-blooded animals used to be. This is where the skeptic deserves a straight answer. If there are 250,000 pythons in Florida, where are they? Why does the average person drive the Tamiami Trail for years and never see one? The honest answer is that this is exactly what you would expect. And it is the worst part. A Burmese python is built to not be seen. Its skin is a near-perfect match for wet sawgrass and leaf litter. It can hold still for days. The annual Florida Python Challenge, the public hunt run by the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, sends hundreds of people into the marsh for 10 days. In a strong year, they take a couple hundred snakes out of a population in the hundreds of thousands. That is not a failure of the hunters. That is the proof of the problem. The U.S. Geological Survey calls this one of the most intractable invasive species problems in the world. And the reason sits right there in the silence. You do not see it because it has gotten very good at not being seen. So it ends where it began, in the Strand west of Naples, 30 miles from the park that is supposed to contain her. A scout snake is moving through the dark right now with a transmitter under his skin, hunting the largest female he can find. When he finds her, she will already be carrying the next 100. The biologist will log the coordinates and notice again that the dot sits a little further north than the last one. No one planted this animal here on purpose. No one can pull it back out. The Everglades did not hold it. The cold did not stop it. And the maps that call it contained are describing a border the snake crossed years ago. It is out there tonight, under the grass and the black water, patient and enormous and almost completely unseen, doing the one thing a successful predator always does, taking ground. If you live in Florida or in any of those Gulf states the 2009 model lit up, tell me in the comments whether you've seen one or know someone who has and how far north it was. I read every comment. I'm Caleb Whitlock. Watch the edges.